I step, something in my jeans. And FOI, you know that's the team, huh?
Peace. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Today we got a young brother by the name of Brother Nas.
Yes, sir.
The first thing I want to ask you is, were you born in a nation, or was the teachings introduced to you a different way?
I was born in a nation, born and raised.
Yes, sir. And how is that experience? Because a lot of people may think of it as you probably grew up in a too disciplined household, or the teachings was just preached to you every day. And how was that experience?
That's a good question. For me personally, it's like when Allah creates you, it's like it got to be in your heart. You know, it could be instilled to you even when you're younger, but at the end of the day, it's like it's in your heart. So me growing up, as a child, it was cool for me because like my parents would tell me like to stay away from something and they'll explain why to stay away from it. You know, once you have understanding of something and to why I stay away from it, you don't really feel like you're left out. Like, for example, like Christmas. You can get presents anytime, you know. That's what my family usually did, or doing like Ramadan, you know. So when Christmas came around, I'd be in school, people like, oh, what did you get, Nasser? I never felt like upset because I understand that that's a pagan holiday, you know. So it's just like I just loved it. Like, I love Islam, man. It's like that's just me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we see a lot of people like, born in a nation, they kind of go astray most of the time. Did you have that process of going astray, or did you just want to join as soon as you could, or register as soon as you could?
I wanted to register as soon as I could, but I thank a lot for my parents because my mother and my father, like my dad, he really was like a big influence because if it wasn't for him, ain't no telling where I'd be at, you know. And a lot of people think just because you're born and raised in a nation, they be like, oh yeah, you're blessed, this and that. And I met a brother at Savior's Day. He was telling me how blessed I am. I said, no, I thank Allah for it. But a lot of us that's born and raised in the nation, we take it for granted, you know, because that's all we hear, you know. So you would see like new brothers coming in and they take it so much serious. But I remember the message was saying that it's going to be a point in time to where if you're born and raised in a nation, you're not using that teaching to help our people, you will be replaced, you know. So it was like it's times where like I would head in the wrong direction a little bit, but either my mom or my dad would like they'll tell me like focus on this. You got to stay focused on the teachings because it's gonna save your life. So
Yes, sir. Now, what do you think about those watching, brothers that, are seen conscious or whatever that means, or woke? They can seem oftentimes weird, strange, this brother, man, you ain't drinking, man. You ain't trying to, you ain't trying to get with the ladies, you know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to get with the women. So there's a lot of times of that. What do you think, like, what's your opinion on that? Are the brothers in the nation, is it weird? You wasn't scared of being looked upon as weird or odd or different because you don't kind of live the life of, the quote unquote normal young brothers that we see living into this world?
That's a good question, bro. I would say, anytime you're trying to get closer to Allah, you're going to be the opposite of this world. So you're going to stand out regardless, And I just tell people all the time, like I had that conversation. People tell me, you ain't trying to get with the ladies, you ain't drinking or smoking. And then I break it down. I'm like, this is, in the Holy Quran, paraphrasing, but this is a short time, that we're living in, all this party and stuff. So in the future, I want to make it to the hereafter. I fully understand that. So I just tell them like, bro, this stuff ain't good for you, man. Like they might laugh, crack jokes, but at the end of the day, years later, they're gonna remember Brother Nasser, trying to remind them. So I just tell the brothers, man, like, man, get closer to Allah, and then everything you want. What the minister said, he said, through the mission and everything around you, he will amplify everything around you. So that's the way I see it. So I don't let that stuff bother me. I just feel like that makes me want to educate them more. Even if they don't listen to me at that particular time, I know they'll come around, inshallah.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of young brothers that's watching this, and they see you with the bow tie and the suit, and they may be, kind of intimidated by that, some, because they may be scared of, I want to join the nation, but these brothers look perfect. They seem perfect. They look like they act perfect. I'm scared because, I don't want to be a hypocrite in it. So I don't know if I want to join. What would you say to young brothers that has that mindset or has those thoughts?
Man, I would tell them like, bro, we're not perfect. We all striving, and it's crazy because literally before, we did this interview, I was watching some brother posted about why the FOI is in a suit and bow tie. And the minister basically saying, he was like, because we're businessmen, also we're trying to deliver the message, so we have to come in a certain way because we have to be the opposite of this world. But some of us was like, used to be in prison, some of us, was killers at one point in time, so it's just, I would just say what you're seeing is you're seeing the light of Allah within us as we're still striving to get closer to Allah. So we're not perfect.
Yes, sir. And like you just said, a lot of the brothers that used to be killers and used to do all sorts of things. But what would you say to young brothers watching this? Like, hey, I'm with, excuse my language, I'm with the niggas, and I still want to stay hard. I still want to be taken seriously. I don't want to be looked at as corny. Because, a lot of brothers that believe in God, they can be looked upon as soft or corny. What are your thoughts on that? And is the Nation of Islam, if I join the Nation of Islam, am I going to be turned into a soft and corny brother?
I would say no, sir. For one, if you want to know how to fight, this is the place to be. Come on
Yes,
now.
sir.
Like, we got some of the best fighters, out there. I would say that. Also, I feel like I'll just tell them, like, bro, this is what the white man instilled into you, because it's like they want you to be high up. They want you to, have your pants sagging and stuff like that, because they fully understand if you're thinking like that, you're never gonna grow. You're never gonna take on the earth. This earth belongs to us. So I would tell them, I'm like, man, what makes you a soldier is having discipline. What makes you a soldier is thinking. Because, for example, I use the white man's example. Anything he want, he go get. That's a real gangster. That's a real soldier. So I would tell him, I'm like, nah, man, like being educated, getting closer to God and still being a soldier, ain't nothing weak about that.
Yes, sir.
No?
Well, you said the brothers watching this, and like, we hear, from the teachings that we are born Muslim by nature. Mm-hmm. What would you say about the brothers that say, I ain't a Muslim, I'm a real nigga?
I tell them, I'm like, I was just telling them, I say, you love God, right? They're like, yeah, I love God. I'm like, man, then you're a Muslim, like that's what a Muslim is, someone who submit their will entirely to Allah, to God. So I just tell them, I'm like, as long as you got that in your heart, that's what you are, and then usually sometimes they do like Christians and stuff. I will talk about Jesus and give them that example. I'm like, Jesus was a Muslim. Look at the way he prayed, just the way he carried himself. That's what a Muslim does. And yeah, that's basically what I go into.
Yes, sir. What would you say, like the brothers that are scared of the discipline? Like, man, I gotta cut off my dreads. I gotta give up weed, the Henny. I gotta give up the vape sticks, man. I gotta give up, I keep that strap on me. I gotta give that up. What would you say to brothers that's dealing with that? They want to go the right way, but that wrong way it sounds so good and it tastes so good.
Right. Like these questions, like I literally have conversations with young brothers. Like as you're asking me this, it's like, man, you reflect. I would literally tell them, I'm like, bro, you really gotta seek refuge in Allah, because some things like your family can't help you, your friends can't help you. I mean, there's been times me personally when dudes approaching me talking crazy and he had guns, and Allah still protected me, and I wasn't no punk. I was still a soldier, So I just say, like, whatever Allah has for you, He has for you. Like, no one can do anything to you without Allah's permission. But I would tell them, as far as like the discipline part, I would literally tell them to take baby steps. Work your way to it. Like, write down what you want to get to, and slowly but surely, do that. But I know the minister said your environment is everything. So I would tell them, like, if you really want to start, hang around people that you're striving to be like. You don't have to be registered to be around the brothers, just to go to the mosque, just little small stuff like that.
Yes, sir. What would you say about, brothers that say, man, seek refuge in Allah, man. I seek refuge with this strap. I seek refuge with these hands. What would you say to brothers that say, why the hell do I need God? Why the hell do I need Allah? Whatever you want to call them. Why do I need that when I already got things that protect me?
I was just telling them, I'm like, man, whether you realize it or not, Allah been protecting you this whole time. Like, literally the way you think, the thoughts that you have, if it wasn't for Allah, if it wasn't for Allah working on you in your mother's womb, you would not literally be here. So I would tell them, I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm just like, that just really makes me think, man. Like, but I would just tell them, I'm like, bro, the fact that you have someone coming to you, is a reminder from Allah. because don't be spooky. Angels is men, coming to you. So I would just say, I'm like, Allah will be protecting you, because if you end up losing your life, Allah can say, like, I sent you a warning. You chose to reject them. So that's what I'll tell them.
Yes, sir. What would you say to those that say, I get you, Brother Nas, and everything, but why join the Nation of Islam so young? You see the life out here. You see spring break in Miami. You see the girls looking good. You see the alcohol looking good, the smoke, the weed looking good. Why give all that up and join the Nation of Islam so young? Because you're a young brother. So why join it so young?
I would tell them, I'm like, sometimes you will get into something and the law never brings you back, and I would say it's best to take care of your body now, because I stress that. I'm like, here that you put all these chemicals and stuff in your body. I'm like, in a couple more years, man, your body's gonna be done. So I'm like, it's best to build your mind up now, so in the future when you have your children and stuff like that, they'll be 10 times better than you ever was. But what else was part of your question, bro? Because you said, since I'm a young brother.
Yeah, because you're a young brother, especially with the women, and that life is enticing. So why join it so young?
And I would tell him too, like, if you realize it, anytime like young dudes, he a player and stuff, when he get older, he be looking for a woman, that's not out there, So he's gonna slow down eventually. But it's like, if you change your thinking and find out queen now, whatever you want, she gonna help you get that. Like the females, like they always gonna be there. But at the end of the day, we here to serve God, and better ourselves. That's what we're here for. We're not really here for to be doing all that extra stuff. And, if they choose to listen to me, praise be to Allah. If they don't, then I just pray to Allah that they come around.
Yes, sir. Why believe in God or Allah? Why believe in it? And what is God and Allah to you? Is it a white man in the sky that's protecting me with a white beard? Is it a white Jesus? What is God, and why should I believe in God? Something that I cannot see, something, that some people may think they cannot feel.
Honestly, I would tell them, depending on who I'm talking to, I would say God is force and power, and just dealing with Black people, we the first ones on this earth. And the Bible, I'm paraphrasing, but it talks about making God in his image, likeness. That's us. We the first. So I would say God's already in you, and you might not necessarily be able to see like air, but you can feel it. It's there. And then one thing that I tell people all the time: you ever been in an environment and something's off, but you don't know what it is, but then you was right? And people call it the gut feeling, but sometimes I call it the God feeling, because there's certain things in your life that is beyond your control, and when things protect you, and like also, not to keep jumping around, but also when a lot of people, is about to die on their deathbed, who they cry out to? They cry out to God, whether they believe in God or not. They're like, oh God, can you save me? Because subconsciously, they know there's a higher power. So
yes, sir.
But yeah, God's a Black man, Yeah.
So we see the brothers talking about, we got to get that knowledge of self. You see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in Message to Black Men, he said, my people suffer from a lack of knowledge, and that says in the Bible too, and prophecy. But why get knowledge, and why read? Why study? Why is that important to me? I'm a young brother, I'm trying to study this weed. I'm trying to study, I'm trying to study these women, that girl over there looking good. So why put my face in a book rather than put my face in the rest of this foolishness that's around here?
That's a good question, because I'll honestly say, before I said I just thank Allah for the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan and Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because they gave us so many examples to look up to that it's easy. Even if I'm not a strong brother, I can point to the next brother, like, well, this brother is stronger than me. So it's always, we have so many examples around us. But I would just tell them, I'm like, because you live in this world's life, Allah already promised that this world is going to be destroyed. So you gotta, at a certain point, you gotta choose which side you want to be on, Allah's side or the devil's side, because the devil didn't force you to do anything, but you falling right into his traps. So I was just telling him, I'm like, man, Allah's not playing with us. Like, God takes children, he takes men at old age, women at old age, and while you on this earth, while Allah bless you with life, you have to use it the correct way. You can't take it for granted.
Yes, sir. What would you say to people that, because they see the FOI, and it's a military, but you brothers don't carry. What would you see to those that say, how are we going to be free as Black people? And how are we going to be able to protect ourselves as a Black community and as a nation? Because you guys call yourself a nation of Islam. How in the hell are we going to protect ourselves without a gun, without an AK-47, without an automatic semi-rifle? What are we going to do?
That's a good question. And I was talking to my student minister about this. His name is Brother Victor. And he was saying that why would, you know, as a nation, why would we have guns and stuff when we're not even in the land of our own yet? You know, so that automatically make us a target to the government that we're in. And plus, we're still getting out to thinking like niggas. So it's like, we don't want a gun. You see what we're doing with guns already. You know, we're literally killing each other. So it don't make sense for us to have guns and stuff. But I did hear the messenger say that at one point in time, we will have guns once we have land of our own. And, you know, we have the proper knowledge of it. But other than that, it don't make sense for us to have weapons right now. Not yet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What would you say to people watching this who would ask you, you know, because you are a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But many people that see that will say, why follow another man? They may say I'm a grown man. Why follow another man?
Good question. I would say, for one, for you to be a good leader, you have to be a great follower. You know, I would say that. And for two, we can't be spooky. I constantly remind them, I'm like, God's in man, God's in woman. You know, so when God sends you a warner, he's gonna come as a man. He's gonna, like, that's what he's gonna come as, because we're not just spirits floating around. So I would say, and you're really looking at Allah through that man. You know, in a prayer like seek refuge in the Lord of men, the King of men, the God of men. We're not worshiping the flesh. We're worshiping the God within that person, you know, which we all have. So I would say, honestly, when you're following like the minister, you know, the minister is helping you become a better you. The minister encouraged that. You know, he wants you to be the best you can be. And the minister, he is so humble. He be saying that you can focus on the mission and you can do greater things than he did in certain aspects, you know? So that's what I would tell him.
Yes, sir. What would you say, you know, because they see the brothers in this, it's a military. I see the drilling. I see the bow ties, the suits. I see the brothers speak with such eloquence. But what would you say to people that say you brothers look too strict, you know, for me? What would you say to those? Is it too strict? Is the Nation of Islam strict at all? What would you have to say about that?
I would say we do have restrictive laws, and that is literally to save your life. So in any like proper establishment, there's rules you got to follow. You know, that's just anywhere you go, the white man's world, you know, our nation. So I would tell them, like, the things that you got to really dig deep and understand why we don't do certain things, or why we do certain things, you know, and that will help you understand. And then once they do that, they're going to see like, oh, this stuff is here really just to save my life. You know, they keep me focused, you know. So that's what I would tell them. I'm like, you just got to dig deep and understand why we do what we do. But me personally, man, I be having fun with the brothers. You know, we be cutting up because at the end of the day, man, we still human. We still have fun. That's like a little like stigma that they be thinking like we just like this all the time.
Yeah,
no,
that was the next question, because I see in your bio, if people don't know watching this, it says you're a self-taught dancer. And I see the videos on your Instagram of you pop locking and dancing. Many people don't see that, you know. Many of us see the Nation of Islam, the FOI, as serious, you know, militant, 24/7, talking about Black history and Farrakhan 24/7. But do people in the Nation of Islam, specifically you, have fun in the nation? You guys able to dance in the nation and do still what you love?
All the time. Like, there's been times where I performed, you know, at my mosque and stuff. And anytime the minister encourages to, anytime Allah bless you with a gift, you know, use it. You know, that's music. That's the minister. He has music. Some has dance. Some people's good at art. You know, so we're actually encouraged to use what we're good at. But yeah, it's just like me, it's a beautiful thing, because like even when I be soldiering, I be seeing young brothers dance. I'm like, bro, if I beat you in a dance battle, listen, man, read this final call, this and this and that. And they'll be expecting it because they be thinking we all serious. So when I start dancing and stuff, they be like, oh, they're like, yeah, y'all do that. I'm like, yeah, we brothers, you know, what you do, we do. You know, we just striving to get closer to Allah, you know. So
yes, sir. So you can enjoy yourself, you can have fun and smile in the nation. You're not gonna be kicked out.
No, sir, man. You having too much fun sometimes. You know.
Yes, sir. What are some things besides dancing that you like to do for fun?
Besides dancing, I would say work out. I like to do that. You know, I like flipping. Like back flipping and all that stuff. I like to do that. What else? What else? Oh yeah, I love football and boxing. Boxing, I boxed since I was like I think I was like from like 10 to like 15. So I'm real passionate about boxing. I love boxing.
Yes, sir. You're speaking on boxing. One thing that people may see, they see the brothers with the bow ties and everything. Do the brothers know how to fight and protect themselves? Because, the brothers don't carry in the nation.
Man, most definitely. And it's crazy because like a lot of these brothers, man, he's so loving. You looking at him, man, like you know it's a seriousness about him, but you don't even know. Like some of these brothers, man, like trained to kill. Like they like I just be thinking, I'm just like, man, so we can have fun and do all that stuff, but also we're soldiers at the end of the day, so we do know how to protect ourselves, at all times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What did the Nation of Islam do for you specifically? Because a lot of people will say, well, what the hell does the Nation of Islam do for the Black community? So just in response to that, give me your testimony. What has the Nation of Islam done for you? And especially growing up in the Nation of Islam, what has that done for you?
I would say I seen what it done to my parents because my parents, that's why I think a lot so much for the minister because my dad, he fell in real quick at 18 and my mom ended up moving because she's from Gary, Indiana. She came to Pittsburgh for college and they ended up meeting each other. And boom, they both fell in. So at a certain point, I used to hear my dad's stories. He's like, man, I used to do this, I used to do that. And he used to tell me what to stay away from. He said, don't go this route. So me personally, just dealing with the teachings and a lot dealing with me personally, because we all have our own, path to God. It's like Allah just showed me certain things, literally like from whether if he used, my family as an example to me, but me personally, Allah just showed me like certain things just to stay away from and things I need to work on dealing with self that I just know, like I know the teaching is it for me.
Yes, sir. And especially like you growing up in the nation and having that knowledge of self at an early age, what would you say to young brothers, even brothers that didn't grow up in the nation, like how can you still give the teachings to your friends and your family without sounding too preachy or without sounding too weird or sounding like, doing too much? What can you do to still, try to give people around you knowledge without making it, doing too much with it?
Right. Man, bro, I still do that now, even with my family and friends. But I would just say, like, when the opportunity comes up, I would say just throw it in there, and then, but you gotta see what they into as far as the teaching as well. Because if you say something to your friend or your family, and then they actually like, oh, what you mean by that? This and this and that. That's your gateway. So you gotta be patient and find your opportunities. And then yeah, I just tell them that I'm like, yeah, you don't gotta be too preachy, but when the time come, drop the seed because you might drop a seed and you might think they brush it off, but then 2 weeks later, Allah can show them something. Like, oh wait, brother Nasser was just telling me about this, so you just gotta be patient.
Yes, sir. What would you say to people that's like, man, it's just hard because people are so immature at my age? They may be in high school, freshman, middle school, but they're into this knowledge of self, but it's hard for them to connect with people their age. If you struggled with that, or if you didn't, what would you tell people that's dealing with that issue? And how can they still get the message across and still, make friends and still be a normal person their age?
Right. I would say that did happen to me. I would say you have to strive to lead by example. You don't necessarily have to cut them off because they're not hearing you at that particular time. But I have friends personally that I talk to, and then they Christians, born and raised Christians, and me and him was cool, and I still dropped the teachings on them. But it's like as time's going on, he's starting to bear witness. He's starting to see what's going on. So I was just telling him, I'm like, man, you can still have fun and be yourself. Just don't ever put your beliefs to the side for someone else.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What would you tell people who are interested in the teachings and they're young, but their parents may, they hear that the Nation of Islam is a hate group. They hear, they may be Christian and they don't want their son going, a way that's negative. They still want them believing in Jesus. and all of those things. What would you tell people who's really struggling with their mom or their dad, really being against them, registering into the Nation of Islam?
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. I was just telling them, I'm like, if depending on the parent, if they like worried about the child believing in Jesus, I would tell them, we do believe in Jesus, you know? So I'm like, don't get it twisted. I'm like, man, you come to the mosque and you hear the minister, you know, talk about Jesus so many times. It's like the last lecture in Savior's Day, you know? But I would tell them, I would look, I know it could be rough. I would just tell them like literally seek refuge in the law, but also I would tell them be around the believers more because each believer have their own testimonies, you know. So I would, if they're really worried about that, I would really tell them just to ask certain believers and see because I know that can be rough. But I know some people that you know they're not really big fans of the nation, but they think of so much because they see what their son became. You know, their son used to be disrespectful. Now, you know, he eat in a certain way. He's praying. He respects his parents. So at the end of the day, they might disagree, but they gonna see the outcome when you submit yourself to Allah.
Yes, sir. And you just said submit yourself to Allah. What would you tell people who's watching this right now and they may not believe in God? They said, why, first of all, why would God, if God is real, why would he put something in a book? If God is real, why did he make the world as it is? People killing each other, animals kill each other, all of these things, the condition, the things I went through in my childhood. Why believe in God, and why, if God is real, why must I pray to him every day and worship him every day and give praise to him every day?
Well, I would say this. I would say, you know, as a people, we write our history 25,000 years in advance. So Allah already knew this time was coming, but I would tell them, I would literally tell them, I'm like, Allah do whatever he pleases, you know? So it's like, I can't really just answer to tell you why, like, you know, your brother passed or your sister passed. But what I can tell you is God is real because everything in his universe submits to a certain law, you know? And it's crazy how we say a certain law. That sounds like a law right there, you know? So you just can't do what you want to do. Like your organs is like, okay, I'm gonna just do what I want to do. You will not be here. Your brain said that, you know, even with the earth and stuff, you know, the sun, it's like the sun's like, I'm gonna do my own thing, you know, the earth will be messed up. So I would tell them, I'm like, it's submitting to something, you know, whether people want to call it the universe, you know, the what else, any God word, Jehovah, whatever. But there is a higher power, you know, and that's a lot of proper name is Allah.
Yes, sir. That's a really good point that you made there. What would you tell the sisters watching this and they see, you know, they see 90 Day Fiance and they see the Muslims on there, you know, kind of controlling the women, you know, they see documentaries of Muslim men abusing women, you know, all types of crazy stuff going on. You know, the sisters like to watch them, you know, the murder documentaries. So, you know, they see the Muslims, you know, acting crazy with the woman, controlling the woman, telling the woman, you know, all types of things. And they justify it by the Quran. They justify it by the Sunnah. They justify it with Islam. What would you tell those, you know, or just personally, does the Nation of Islam teach to hate the women, to look at the women as lower than the man?
Man, I would tell them, no, sir, no, ma'am. That's one thing about the nation. That's what we're known for. We're known for protecting our women. And also the ministers speak about it too. And I'll be sending people lectures. I'm like, listen, if you really want to learn and understand about Islam, I'm gonna send you a lecture. But the minister said, don't confuse the culture over there with Islam. You know, it's two different things. So it's like, if we treat the one based on the Holy Quran, then we're treating them the right way. You know, they can do whatever they want. That's between them and Allah. Allah going to chastise them for that. But no, we protect our, we die for our women. The minister said, you know, we give our life for a virtuous woman.
Yes, sir. What about those that read the Quran and it says that men are the maintainers of women? Does the Quran speak of mistreating the woman or seeing the woman as less than a man?
I would say, first of all, we're taught that 75%, Allah focus on, I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to say incorrectly, but 75% of work is deal with the woman and only 25% with the man. So that right there just shows you like, no, we don't see the woman, we don't see ourselves higher than a woman. We're taught with 1 degree, but that's only because we have to maintain, you know, protect. And you only protect what's valuable. If something's not valuable, you're not going to protect it. You're not going to take care of it. So if anything, for us to keep being here is through the woman. You know, we got to protect and love our women.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what about those watching this? You know, there may be sisters that's interested in the Nation of Islam, and they may ask you, what is the role for a woman in the Nation of Islam? Can they be ministers? Can women work in the Nation of Islam? Can I be a doctor? Can I be a pilot? Can I own my own business as a woman in the Nation of Islam? Or must I just stay by the side of a man? Must I just wait on a man to do everything for me? Can I still do what I want to do? Can I still do my hair, my makeup? Do I still have freedom in the nation as a woman if I register? What would
Man,
you
I
say?
would tell them, I'm like, of course, you can do anything you want to do as far as, you know, if it's something better in yourself. If you want to do a business, do that. You know, I would tell them to definitely talk to like an MGT, because I can tell you from the brother side, but it's a totally different story when you hear from a sister side. You know, so I would tell them, like, the minister, he encouraged us to be ourselves. Anything we want to do, he encouraged us to strive towards that, as long as it's in righteousness. So I would tell them, I'm like, ain't nothing stopping you. These teachings actually here to push you, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the last question I have. What would you say to people who are thinking about processing or thinking about registering into the Nation of Islam? Do you have words of encouragement? Do you encourage them to keep learning? What would you have to say to them watching this right now?
I would tell them to keep learning, keep asking questions. Because one thing that kept me in Islam, any question I had, there's an answer for it. Like, literally, there's an answer for it. You know, so I would tell them to keep asking questions, keep studying, you know, keep up prayer, you know, fast, because that stuff will help you get closer to Allah. So if you don't understand something at a certain time, you know, it's going to come to you. But at this point, Allah is not playing. And as you keep studying, you know, and get the books of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like the Fall of America and stuff, you will see that the Nation of Islam, we're being guided, you know, and it's to the point to where, you know, other people, you know, our people is literally coming to us because of the teaching that we have that's from Master Prophet Muhammad, you know. So I was just telling them, like, keep studying, you know, just keep diving into these teachings, because it will save your life, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I just want to thank Brother Nas for coming on here and giving his precious time and patience with us. And I just want to say, I hope to have you again, young brother. I love speaking to the young brothers. And I just want to pray that may Allah continue to bless and protect you and your family.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
No problem, brother. Thank you for having
Yes,
me.
sir. Hope we cross paths physically. And I just want to say salam alaikum.
Like, salam. Yes, sir. We will. It's your law.
Yes, sir. Thank you.